Alrighty, folks, it is Saturday, July 8th, 2023. Of course, as usual, I'm feeling great on a Saturday morning because we're coming fresh off a 5-win day yesterday on my website. We had the Phillies, Blue Jays, Braves, Guardians, and Red Sox. And the only way you could access all of those winners is to be a chairman member on that site. And speaking of the chairman package, well, we connected once again on yet another chairman play yesterday. We had the Guardians minus 1.5 on the run line. And of course, they shut out Kansas City 3-0. Actually, a two-hitter. Aaron Savali had yet another superb outing. 7 innings of work, only 2 hits allowed, no earned runs, no runs at all. And of course, the bullpen cleaned everything up, did not allow a hit. Josh Naylor, he went 2 for 4 at the plate with another RBI, and that is now going to put us at 9-2 in our last 11 chairman plays, 17-5 in our last 22, and 22-7 in our last 29 chairman plays on that site. Of course, that's good for 76% during that stretch. Now, if for some reason you don't need access to all of those winners and you only need one play a day, well, you can also think about signing up for my $1.99 Daily Best Play. The Daily Best Play gives you access to one of my personal plays every single day for the next 30 days for the ridiculously low price of just $1.99. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into some shout-outs. Shout out to CB1729, who said, "Good stuff, man. Keep it going." Shout out to Tina Granson, who said, "I don't like Detroit. We don't know how Lorenzen is an all-star this year." And finally, I want to give a shout out to Anna Adams, who said, "Comment dog killer." I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Cubs at the Yankees, 105 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are minus $1.75, totals 8.5. Garrett Cole for New York, Drew Smyly for Chicago. And as much as I do want to back Smyly here, I do have some concerns going into this start. Now, for one, Smyly's ERA is up in the 4s. He's also got himself a 1.31 whip. And in Smyly's last 9 starts, the Cubbies got the W only 3 times. Dansby Swanson could be out of the lineup again here today. Nick Madrigal's still nursing that sore hammy. And at the plate, the Cubs are striking out just way too many times per game. They're a bottom 5 strikeout team at the dish. They're facing Garrett Cole on the other side, who's been absolutely awesome this year. He's mowed down 118 batters, and he has an ERA in the 2s. And out of 109 plus innings of work this year, the righty Cole's recorded just 2 losses. Now, New York's also had, they've had some success against National League opponents. They're actually winning 60% of their ball games against the National League at home. They're also 13-8 in their last 21 interleague contests at any location. Judge, Allen, and now Jake Bowers, they're all out for the Bombers. Rios and Madrigal are out for Chicago. The Yankees are 7-3 to the under in their last 10 interleague contests in the Bronx. They're also 67% to the under in all of their games against National League opponents. Give me the Yankees minus $1.75, under 8.5. Next ball game, Blue Jays Tigers, 1:10 p.m. East. Toronto's minus 225 on the road, totals 8.5. Kevin Gausman for Toronto, Matt Manning for Detroit. Now, Manning's got an ERA in the 5s. It's an ERA close to 5 after a handful of starts. The Tigers also have a bottom 3 run-producing lineup. Now, they're going up against starting pitcher Kevin Gausman, who's a big strikeout guy himself. The righty's punched out 146 batters, and he has a 1.13 whip. And even if Gausman struggles here today, the Blue Jays, they have little issue getting base runners. They're a top 3 hit-producing team in the American League. And, of course, Bo Bichette, he's got 122 hits on the year. Vlad Guerrero's the club leader in RBI. Now, some rare good news for Tigers fans. It looks like outfielder Riley Green could be back in the lineup here today. Should be able to suit up. Keep an eye on him. We'll have to take a look at that by first pitch. But it looks like he should be able to suit up here today. You'd think maybe he'd just coast into the All-Star break and take an extra couple of days off. But looks like Riley Green could be in the lineup. Now, 3 out of Detroit's last 4 at Comerica Park got over the total. They're also 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Blue Jays minus 1.5 over 8 runs. Next ball game, O's Twins, 2:10 Eastern first pitch. Minnesota's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Sonny Gray for Minnesota, Tyler Wells for Baltimore. Now Wells has 99 strikeouts on the season, as well as a stingy .90 whip. Now the O's have won their last 3 straight, and they scored 23 total runs during that time frame. Ryan O'Hearn's hitting .308 with an OPS nearly in the 900s. Meanwhile, Anthony Santander's got a team-high 47 RBI. Now they're facing a Minnesota club who doesn't like to win for Sonny Gray, and it's a shame because he's been really good this year. But the Twins lost 3 out of their last 4 Sonny Gray starts. They also went just 3-8 straight up in their last 11 Sonny Gray starts as well. Like I said, doing a real bad job when he throws out the first pitch. It's a shame because Sonny Gray's been really, really tough to hit this year. Now, Minnesota's biggest problem has been strikeouts at the dish. These guys strike out a league-worst 10.1 times a game. When it comes to the injury list, Polanco, Gordon, and Lewis are all still out for Minnesota. That infield is depleted. Meanwhile, Hayes and Hicks are questionable for Baltimore. Now, 4 out of the O's last 5 road games did get over the total. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me Baltimore plus 105, over 8.5. Next matchup, Cards, White Sox, 2:10 Eastern start time. St. Louis is minus $1.25, totals 10. Miles Michaelis for St. Louis, Touki Toussaint for Chicago. Now the Sox have lost 5 out of their last 7 ball games, and they have a losing record against National League opponents. The Sox have also had trouble scoring runs on the South Side this year. They're a bottom 3 run-producing team on their own diamond. Now they're facing Miles Michaelis here today, who's got a handful of wins along with 72 strikeouts. And as bad as their record is, well, the Cards do have some guys who can hit the baseball. Nolan Arenado's got 19 home runs and ranks 6th in the bigs in RBI. And of course, Paul Goldschmidt, he leads the roster in hits. Now, Kisner and Edman are still out for the Redbirds. Yohan Moncada still inactive for Chicago. 6 out of the Sox last 10 outings did get over the total. St. Louis went 4-1 to the over in their last 5 on the road. Give me the Cardinals minus $1.25, over 10. Next matchup, Rockies, Giants, 4:05 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco's minus 210, totals 8.5. Ryan Walker for San Francisco, Connor Seabold for Colorado. And out of 66-plus innings this year, the righty Connor Seabold, he's recorded only 1 win. He's got an ERA of 6.62 along with a 1.47 whip. And even if he does have a good showing, he's not going to get the run support he needs. The Rockies are dead last in the National League in run production on the road. They're facing Ryan Walker, who's had some really good success in a handful of starts. As a matter of fact, out of Walker's 4 starts in June, the Giants went undefeated. They scored 21 total runs. And to be fair, the Giants are still a top 10 run-producing team. J.D. Davis, he's the team leader in RBI. Lamont Wade's got a good OPS average and a solid wins above replacement. Now, injury-wise, Thairo Estrada is still out for San Francisco. Charlie Blackmon inactive for Colorado. 7 out of the Rockies' last 11 divisional road games fell under the total. Meanwhile, San Francisco went 8-2 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Giants minus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next ball game, Rangers Nationals, 4:05 Eastern start time. Texas is the $1.80 favorite on the road, totals 10 runs. Andrew Heaney for Texas, Jake Irvin for Washington. And out of 53 innings of work this year, Washington's Jake Irvin has recorded only one win. He's got an ERA close to 5 along with a 1.45 whip. Now the Nats also play their worst baseball in the nation's capital. They've got the fewest home wins out of any other team in the National League. And no real shock here, folks. Washington is a bottom 3 run producing team at home. A lot of misery at Nationals Park this year. Now they're facing Andrew Heaney on the other side of things, who has 89 strikeouts and a 1.28 whip. And despite their recent struggles, the Rangers are still the best hitting team in the league. I mean, that's how good they've been, that they can hit a stretch of some really bad games and still rank atop the league in runs per game and hits. Corey Seager, he's hitting .361 with an OPS in the thousands. Adolis Garcia, he's got the most RBI in the majors. Brad Miller is still out for Texas. Robles and Pineda still inactive for Washington. The Nats went 7-5 to the over in their interleague home games. Meanwhile, the Rangers saw over 60% of their contests against National League opponents get over the total. Give me the Rangers -1.5 over 10. All right, next game, little NL Central action. Reds at the Brewers, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Milwaukee's -130, totals 9.5. Colin Ria for Milwaukee, Luke Weaver for Cincinnati. And even though Weaver has stunk this year, the Reds are on a 7-game winning streak when Weaver makes the start. It's all about getting the W. I don't care how bad your numbers are. If you win every time you pitch, hey, you got to keep them in the rotation. And, of course, most of that is due to some really good hitting. These guys scored 53 total runs in Weaver's last 7 starts. That certainly makes life easy for you. Now, Ellie De La Cruz, he's hitting .325 with an OPS in the 900s. Meanwhile, TJ Friedel's hitting .307 himself. They're facing Colin Ria, who's got a handful of losses along with an ERA of 4.40. Now, the Brewers have also been pitiful at the plate. They average fewer hits per 9 than any other lineup in the National League. Rowdy Tellez, he is still out for Milwaukee. 4 out of the Brewers' last 5 home games got over the number. They also went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Cincinnati went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give the Reds +110, over 9.5. Next ball game, little AL Central action. Royals, Guardians, 4:10 Eastern start time. Cleveland's the $1.65 favorite at home, totals 8.5. Gavin Williams for Cleveland, Brady Singer for Kansas City. Now Singer's got a losing record and an ERA of 5.52. When it comes to offensive production, the Royals just can't hit for shit. They're averaging fewer hits per 9 on the road than any other lineup in baseball. They're going to have to face Gavin Williams, who's looked real good in a handful of innings. Out of 19 innings of work this year, the righty Williams has a .95 whip. Now, these Cleveland batters are also really tough to strike out. They punch out fewer times per contest than any other lineup besides one. Josh Naylor's got the 6th most RBI in the majors, top 10 batting average in the American League as well. Meanwhile, Jose Ramirez, he has 14 homers and a 3.3 wins above replacement. Now, 4 out of Cleveland's last 5 outings at Progressive Field stayed under the total. They're also a staggering 20-4 to the under against American League Central opponents. Divisional games, lots of unders. The Royals on the other side, they went 60% to the under in their divisional road games. Give me Cleveland -165, under 8.5. Next ball game, A's Red Sox, 4:10 Eastern start time. Boston's the $2.40 favorite in Beantown, totals 9.5. James Paxton for Boston, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. Blackburn's got just 1 win on the year with a 1.47 whip. The A's still have the worst record in the majors, and they score the fewest amount of runs. Now, they're also facing James Paxton, who's been dynamic this season. The lefty's got an ERA in the 2s, along with a .96 whip. He's also punched out 61 batters in just 50 innings of work. And even if Paxton struggles, the The Red Sox have been pounding the baseball at Fenway this year. They currently lead the league in hits per contest on their own field. Justin Turner is the club leader in hits. Rafi Devers, he is the third most RBI in the majors. Estory Ruiz is out for the A's. Ramon Laureano is also still inactive. 8 out of Oakland's last 10 ball games got over the number. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Boston. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Now the Bo Sox are 27-19 to the over at Fenway this year. Give me Boston -1.5, over 9.5. Next ball game, NL East action. Phillies Marlins 4:10 p.m. East. Miami's -120, total 7.5. Braxton Garrett for Miami. Rangers Suarez for Philadelphia. Now Suarez has an ERA in the 3s, and he's actually taken the loss just 3 times in 56-plus innings. As a matter of fact, the Phils got the W in 6 out of Suarez's last 10 starts. And of course, the talk of the town here is, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. The Phils have won 13 straight road games. These guys cannot be beat right now when they bat first. Nick Castellanos, he has a team-high 103 hits. Bryson Stott's hitting 300 as well. They're taking on a Marlins team who lost 5 out of their last 8. They got shut out twice during that stretch. Despite having the best hitter in the league, Miami's a bottom 5 run-producing organization in the National League. Garcia and Chisholm still out for the Fish. Miami saw 7 out of their last 11 divisional home games stay under the total. Philadelphia's gone 70% to the under in their last 10. Give me the Phillies +$1, under 7.5. Next matchup, Pirates D-backs 4:10 p.m. East. Arizona's -115, totals 9. Kyle Nelson for Arizona, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. And even though Keller's been excellent this season, the D-backs have had a tough time winning for him. They lost 3 out of their last 4 Mitch Keller starts. They're also 18-27 in their road games. They're facing an Arizona lineup who loves to hit the baseball. These guys have a top 5 run-producing lineup in the National League. Ketel Marte has got a wins above replacement of 3.5, and he currently leads the roster in hits. Christian Walker is the team leader in homers and RBI. And even if the D-backs struggle with Keller, they've got a good one themselves in Kyle Nelson. The lefty's 4-1 with an ERA in the 2s. He's also punched out 42 batters in just 32-plus innings. Now, injury-wise, Bay, McCutchen, and Hayes, they're all out for Pittsburgh. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Pitt's last 5 road games got over the number. They also went 80% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me Arizona -115, over 9. Next contest should be a good one. Braves at the Rays, 7:15 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's -150, totals 8 runs. Spencer Strider for Atlanta, Taj Bradley for Tampa Bay. And despite how bad Tampa's been playing recently, starting pitcher Taj Bradley's been a big strikeout guy this year. He's fanned 76 batters in 56-plus innings. He's also got a handful of wins on the year along with a winning record. Despite Tampa's recent skid, they're still a top 3 run-producing team on their own diamond. Yandy Diaz, he has the 5th highest batting average in the majors. Top 10 OPS guy in the American League as well. Meanwhile, Wander Franco's the club leader in hits, and he's got a WAR above 4. Now they're taking on an Atlanta club who's struggled cashing in on the run line against the American League. They're just 14-19 against the number in their interleague games this year. And in their last 10 meetings with Tampa, the Braves allowed over 5 runs a game. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, oddly enough, 3 out of the Braves' last 4 road games stayed under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Now, 3 out of Tampa's last 4 at the Trop fell under the total as well. Give me Tampa Bay +1.5, under 8. Next ball game, Mariners Astros, 7:15 Eastern start time. Houston's -140, total 7. Framber Valdez for Houston, Brian Wu for Seattle. And out of 28-plus innings, the righty Brian Wu, he's got 39 strikeouts already and a 1.15 whip. So he's averaging well over a strikeout an inning. Now, the M's have also been playing some pretty good team baseball here recently. They got the W in 6 out of their last 7. They scored 5 runs or more in all of those victories. Now, one more thing to add about this Seattle pitching staff. They've exhibited some exceptional control this year. They've walked fewer batters per 9 than any other pitching staff in the game. They're facing a Houston lineup who doesn't really walk a whole lot at the plate themselves. And when these guys are at home, they're actually a bottom 10 hit-producing lineup. They're in the bottom 10 in hits per game on their own field. Now, out of the Astros' last 10 meetings with Seattle, they've also been held to just 3.4 runs a game. And even more bad news, Altuve and Alvarez are still out of the lineup for Houston. Not going to see, I can't imagine you're going to see them tomorrow either. And when it comes to the total in this one, Houston's 7-5 to the under against the AL West at Minute Maid Park this year. They also saw 3 out of their last 4 Valdez starts stay under the line. Give me the Mariners plus 1.5, under 7. Next matchup, Angels-Dodgers, 9:10 Eastern first pitch. The Dodgers are minus 145 at home, totals 9 runs. Michael Grove for the Dodgers, Reed Detmers for Los Angeles. And I'll tell you what, poor Reed Detmers, he just can't buy a win. He's just 2-5 on the year through 82-plus innings. And that's certainly a crime, just 2 wins and 82-plus, because he's pitched pretty well. Now, as a team, the Angels lost 8 out of their last 9. And they've just been the byproduct of some untimely hitting. They're facing a Dodger team who got the W in their last 3 straight. They scored 22 total runs during that short stretch, and that really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. This is a top 3 run-producing lineup in the National League. Freddie Freeman, he's got 112 hits. He also ranks in the top 5 in both batting average and OPS. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts, he's got a WAR above 4, and he has the 5th highest OPS average in the bigs. Now, Chris Taylor is still out for the Dodgers. Trout and Drury still inactive for the Angels. The Angels' last 4 straight road games got over the total. The Dodgers went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. Give me the Dodgers minus 145, over 9. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that Mets-Padres game, 10:10 Eastern first pitch. San Diego's minus 180 at Petco Park, totals 8 runs. Blake Snell for San Diego, David Peterson for New York. And as bad as Peterson's been, I think he picks up a W here today. The Mets as a team, they've won their last 6 straight, and they've been like smoking the baseball. And in Peterson's last 4 starts, the Mets have averaged 6 runs a game. Now, Pete Alonso is amongst the best home run hitters in the National League. He's actually in the top 10 in the entire major leagues, both home runs and RBI. Meanwhile, Francisco Lindor, he's got 160 total bases and a WAR of 3.5. Now, they're taking on a Padres team who lost 6 out of their last 10. And even though Blake Snell's, shown some really good stuff this year, the lefty's just 5-7 on the season. Now, the Padres' biggest issue this year has been hitting. These guys are a bottom 5 hit-producing lineup. Hae-Sung Kim is questionable for San Diego. Brett Beatty questionable for the Mets. 7 out of New York's last 10 ball games stayed under the total. They also held San Diego to just 3.8 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. Give me the Mets plus 1.5, under 8. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me the New York Yankees minus 175, under 8.5. Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5, over 8. Baltimore O's plus 105, over 8.5. I'm hitting at 76%. My last 29 chairman plays on my website. St. Louis Cardinals minus $1.25 over 10. San Francisco minus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. Texas Rangers minus 1.5 over 10. Cincinnati Reds plus $1.10 over 9.5. Cleveland Guardians minus 165 under 8.5 runs. Boston Red Sox minus 1.5 over 9.5. Philadelphia plus $1 under 7.5. Arizona Diamondbacks minus $1.15 over 9. Tampa Bay Rays plus 1.5 under 8 runs. Seattle Mariners plus 1.5 under 7. LA Dodgers minus 145 over 9 runs. With my next and final free pick, give me the New York Mets plus 1.5 under 8. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a package here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It's the absolute best value you can get on my website. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. It gives you a breakdown of every single personal play, kind of gets into the meat and potatoes of each pick. But I'll tell you what, most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. But that's it, folks. Happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.